Our next guest appeared on the show several years ago to share her beautiful artwork. Laura Harper, owner of Adlea's Art, has been drawing animals her whole life. In fact, she captures the true essence and personality of her subjects through very different art mediums. Laura is also a certified dog trainer, and I want to welcome Laura Harper back to our city tonight.
It's great to be here. Thanks for having me. It's such a pleasure to be joining you.
Oh, I'm so glad. I caught a glimpse of some of your new art, which is, we're going to talk about that too, affiliated with your new passion. But your art business, we're going to share with our audience again, it started as a hobby. And I want to know again, to share with our audience, the evolution of Adlea's Art since 2016.
Yeah, so it was a bit of an interesting story because I had always been drawing animals and dabbled in sort of portraits and whatnot, but I'd never charged for them. And when I was in a job interview, they asked me what my hobbies were. And I said, well, I draw animals. And they go, oh, do you do portraits? And I said, no. And that was the first idea I had of, okay, maybe I can actually make some money off of this. And so my first test was a friend of mine who had 2 cats. And I said, I'll draw you this portrait and you can take me out for lunch. And she said, okay, the lunch will be how much I like the portrait. So if it's really bad, it'll be like McDonald's or something, fast food. And if it's really good, I'll take you somewhere nice. And so she ended up taking me somewhere nice. And from there, my style has evolved. So I started off doing ink portraits with some splashes of watercolor, and then into more realistic portraits with colored pencils and pastels. And now I've continued to do that as well as some digital art.
Yeah, I saw your digital art. I want to take a moment just about your realistic artwork for the wild animals, the pencil crayon. They basically jump right out of, onto the screen. They've got the spiders and the snakes. I mean, they're beautiful, but kind of scary. We're going to jump into your recent passion, the affiliation with Losing Lulu. And I want you to share why you got involved with this. And now you're such a big part of the organization.
Yeah, so Losing Lulu, I'm affiliated with it in 2 ways. So I do work for the organization that founded Losing Lulu. So Losing Lulu is a grief support group for anybody who's been impacted by the effects of behavioral euthanasia of an animal of any species. So that's things like dogs that are put down for aggressive behavior, for anxiety, horses that have behavior. We've had llamas and snakes and, all kinds of different animals. And my own journey with what we call our Lulus. So a Lulu is an animal who's been euthanized due to behavior. My dog, Gabby, a bit of a different type of Lulu, where she got elderly. So she got to be about 12 years old and experienced a fairly sharp cognitive decline. So she was starting to have panic attacks. She didn't recognize certain people, and then she'd remember who they were. And this went on and everything, we managed it. It was fine until she started reacting somewhat aggressively to people and dogs that she knew very, very well, including me. And so that was the point where I said, she's not present, she's not enjoying her life, and she's not safe anymore. So she did live a good, full life. She was an amazing dog, but she was ready to go. And that's sort of my journey into the world of behavioral euthanasia. And when we started putting on the summit, so there's an upcoming summit, the very first Losing Lulu summit is coming up in April. I wanted to find a way to give back to the organization, and I was able to do that through my art. So that's how it kind of all evolved and became connected.
Wonderful. Now, so members, I was on your website, the Losing Lulu, they received one of your beautiful postcards, your digital stained glass.
So certain persons, because the summit is free, we want it to be as accessible to everybody as possible. We, of course, are relying on sponsors to fund the software and the administrative work and give our speakers honoraria. which means we need sponsors. So my contribution as the artist partner is to provide sort of rewards for certain sponsor tiers. So at certain amounts and above, you will get some of my art. Depending on which level, you'll either get what we call coping cards or grief cards, or my stained glass portraits, which are custom to your animal.
Wonderful. Now, veering off a little bit as we close up here, you're also a certified dog trainer. I was fascinated the fact that you're doing some scent detection, because that's been all over the internet. Those really specialized dogs that can sniff out a grain of rice in a pond. Tell us a little bit about that as we wrap up.
Yeah, so my dog Zero, he is my service partner. So he's a service animal, as well as my sport dog. And his big sport is scent detection. And so it's basically, there are essential oils that are hidden around a room, and your dog has to find them. You don't know where they are, and the dog has to tell you when they found them. And I think Zero really took to this sport because of the service work. A lot of service dog work is based on smells and then telling the owner to do something when they smell a certain chemical. So he already does that in his day-to-day life. So when I just put it into scent detection, he's like, yeah, I can do that, no problem. And he's done very, very well in the sport, and it's a blast, and he really enjoys it. So that's one of our passions for sure.
Well, it's definitely been used. They're using in crime scenes, and it really is a fascinating. I know you're involved as a sport, but it's fascinating.
Yeah, sport is based off of the detection dog, so it's meant to mimic the sort of finding the drugs. And so when my friend and I work our dogs, we often go to pet friendly stores and hide scents, and we say we're finding bombs in the store, because that's kind of the theory behind the sport for sure.
Wonderful. Well, we thank you for being on the show again. Now, we won't wait as many years next time. We're going to show your website up on the screen here, and you're continuously doing this as a full-time occupation now. You're drawing. It's absolutely gorgeous work. And thank you, Laura, for being back on the show. And good luck with the Lulu Summit. That's Losing Lulu Summit. That is a wonderful organization to be a part of.
Yeah, well, thank you so much for having me. It's always a pleasure, and I'm always happy to come back.
Thanks, Laura.